I wanted to continue our program with the introduction of Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. Elected in 2002, Senator Murkowski is currently the ranking member on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee. Senator Murkowski also serves on the Appropriations Committee, Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and the Committee on Indian Affairs. Senator Murkowski received her undergraduate degree from Georgetown and her law degree from Willamette University. She's been a strong supporter of energy and many bipartisan initiatives. I'd like to welcome to the stage Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, thank you, and good morning. It is indeed a pleasure to be back with you. I was here just a couple years ago at this summit, and I can tell you, as the ranking member on the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, I know how fast-paced the energy sector can be, and truly how much has happened in these intervening 2 years. You've had the privilege of having Senator Alexander before you here this morning already. I will be followed in my comments by Senator Wyden, the new chairman of the Energy Committee, and colleagues who, I think, in fairness, have been working together collaboratively in a bipartisan way to really affect good policy, good change in the energy sector. Thomas Edison, that giant of an American inventor and businessman, once said, "We don't know 1/1,000,000th of 1% about anything." It's kind of a humbling statement, but every time that I visit with our nation's best and brightest scientists, the brilliant minds who are literally building better light bulbs, I'm reminded of how true this warning actually was. Over the past couple of decades, the idea of scarcity has become ingrained in our minds when we think of energy. And we've repeatedly been told that we're running out of oil, we're running out of natural gas, and that energy prices were the bubble that would effectively never pop. And now we are producing so much natural gas that we're actually having that debate about how much we should export. Record low prices are bringing manufacturers back to America. On top of that, just last year, we saw the largest increase in U.S. crude production since 1859. Now, we shouldn't mistake this era of abundance for an excuse to just kind of sit back here. While North American production may be increasing at record levels, our global supply faces some pretty serious headwinds. Energy independence does not mean immunity or isolation. And given the challenges that we face, we need to both produce our resources and prioritize innovation. And that means that ARPA-E's role is probably more important now than ever before. Earlier this month, I released a document. It's 115 pages. It's entitled Energy 2020. Somewhat unusual in Congress for a member to actually lay out a proposal that is as lengthy and comprehensive as this. There's some 200 ideas out there. I'm now a target for these ideas. I think that that's a good thing. I think it's good that we are pushing the conversation on energy ideas. And I'm hoping that through this blueprint, we can really work to reimagine America's energy future and our federal energy policies. Anybody that's interested, I'm putting in a shameless plug, go to my website at energy.senate.gov, but check it out. Let me know. Give me your input and feedback in terms of what we have included, perhaps what we have omitted, and where we might go from here. As I lay out in Energy 2020, we truly have an opportunity to construct a national energy policy that pays for itself. And I have outlined what we're calling an Advanced Energy Trust Fund. It's similar to what the President mentioned in his State of the Union speech. It's not identical, but it is similar in concept. I'm now working on legislation to turn that concept into reality and plan to use the revenues from new production to help spur the development of new technologies across the energy sector. But new is my operative word here. The President's proposal essentially calls for a diversion of revenue from existing leases, while mine would expand production into areas that are currently not under lease. So I've taken the perspective that new production is going to beget new revenue, which is a critical distinction between the plans in the area in this time that we're dealing with of budgetary constraints. Now, I am one who believes quite strongly that ARPA-E should play a critical role in getting us to the energy technologies of tomorrow as we continue to develop the resources that we have at our disposal today. People are talking a lot, of course, and rightly so, about wind and solar, but the most significant breakthroughs may come through the cutting-edge science that ARPA-E engages on a daily basis, whether we're talking advanced batteries, whether we're talking advanced biofuels, or perhaps something that we have not yet even dreamed of. Cost-effective energy storage. It may sound pretty mundane to people, but think about the enormous benefits that would be ushered in with storage. In Energy 2020, you'll be happy to know that I call for a continued commitment to ARPA-E, even in this dismal budgeting climate that forces us to be smarter about how we are funding our research. We need these home runs. It's not just about the base hits out there. We need the home runs. We still have to look out for those who are forced to dig deep into their disposable income to pay for energy. In my state of Alaska, I have communities where families are paying up to 47% of their budget for energy to keep warm. We've got to change this dynamic. And this agency, what ARPA-E is doing, is really one of the better options for us in changing the dynamic. Now, thinking about the future of all the new energy technologies that are emerging brings us back to Thomas Edison again. You think about him as an inventor, as an innovator, as a scientist of towering intellect. But there was also another side to Mr. Edison. He was an entrepreneur and he was a captain of industry. And this was critical to his success. Not only did he develop the technology, but he also collaborated with the private investors to reimagine American energy. So let me close with just a couple thoughts here. First, the complex ecosystem of scientific research comprising academic institutions, the national labs, DARPA, and the ARPA constellations, truly these are the envy of the world. ARPA-E must continue developing its own role within this system, finding opportunities to collaborate with others, and avoiding insularity. Second point, before this so-called shale gale came upon us, groupthink had most of us believing in or focusing on this issue of energy scarcity. But the consensus now is shifting to one of abundant energy. So it's important that we don't fall into this trap of groupthink again. I believe in our ingenuity and our ability to develop new technologies to solve some of the greatest challenges. But we really need to be willing to follow every path that is out there. And then the final point. The psychology of scarcity is very different than the psychology of abundance. Just ask anyone who's ever had the good fortune to win a lottery. I know that on Capitol Hill, the hidden assumption of scarcity underpinned a great deal of our collective thinking and the legislative work over the past decade. We're only just beginning to untangle ourselves from that and figuring out just exactly what abundant energy might mean for us. So I would encourage you in your discussions, carefully consider your own thought process here, identifying where outdated axioms may need to be reevaluated as we go forward. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be with you, and to Secretary Chu, I wish you all the best as you embark on the next chapter of your life. Thank you for your leadership and your service to the department and to our nation. With that, I thank you all for the opportunity, and I'm sure that you will take from this summit, again, great energy, great thoughts. Best wishes.